So for more on this in the day's news, we are joined by our political panel, attorney and former Georgia State Representative Ladawn Jones, and conservative commentator and millennial Republican strategist Deanna Lorraine. Thanks for joining us, ladies. Let's start with you, Ladawn. Google is a private company, so why can't they do just what they wish? Should Google have a loyalty to the wishes of a standing government?
Absolutely not. And I honestly think that this complaint is really more of a, let's try to pivot the discussion. If you're going to blame us for meddling, we're going to blame you for meddling. And then trying to connect a private company like Google with the U.S. government, I absolutely think that there's no bearing. And however, I will say corporations have a responsibility to respect what different cultures, governments, and religions and special days that they have. I don't think it would be too much to ask for them to take a break on the election day. Well,
Lorraine, do you agree? I mean, where is the First Amendment apply to Google?
Well, I think that it should, but at the same time, Google has been known to, steer the public opinion so much. They are so very influential in public opinion and in shaping the narrative, almost to, I think, dangerous levels at this point. I think we can all admit that, and especially with steering things with conservative censorship that is very real right now. They control the narrative, and so I think that it's valid what Russia is saying, that they don't want them to try to shift their narrative over there. And I think it's very valid. I think it's legitimate. And I think that Google has definitely sort of overstood and overspoke in many ways. And I think most people can agree with that on both sides of the aisle.
Well, it's interesting that you bring up standing, because speaking of standing, it looks like Nike is standing by Colin Kaepernick. And their stock today was down by 2.6%. And social media was flooded with people throwing away, burning their Nike symbols. I didn't see the same of people buying Nike in bulk. Do you think that, so did Nike do the right thing by standing by Colin Kaepernick and basically getting involved in social justice? And let's go back with you, Lorraine.
Absolutely not. I think this was a terrible move on Nike's part. I mean, to politicize Nike, people are already so upset and feel disrespected what they're doing with the NFL, what they're doing with football. This was the one pastime that people really enjoyed, and disconnecting from everything, disconnecting from politics. And then to actually have to turn on and see that it's become political now. And many people feel disrespected, many Americans, many veterans. It really is shocking to me that they've made this decision to now upset and disrespect a whole other segment of Americans who now no longer want to buy Nikes and want to boycott Nikes. What we say is he could choose any other moment, any other time to protest these social justice issues. Why do it in this way that is clearly disrespecting so many Americans? Why do it during this time, at a time where we're already a very united, not united country, right? We're very divided right now. We have the one thing, the national anthem, which we should all be able to stand for and all stand behind. And no matter what our race, no matter what our gender, no matter what our sports team that we're rooting for, at least we can turn to sports as some sort of a way of unifying the country. And that's no longer because of Colin Kaepernick. That is no longer, and it's really dividing the country.
Well, Ladawn, I think you probably disagree by your facial movement right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Why are they choosing?
Hold on.
I just don't know.
Congratulations.
Let's let Ladawn answer.
Congratulations.
Please.
Congratulations to Nike for standing for what we are all fighting for in America, which is the culture of our country. I find it really interesting that people seem to think it's appropriate to dictate to other people how and when they should protest. That is the exact opposite of the purpose of a protest. Now, I know for many Americans who enjoy football and enjoy Nike, it is easy to say this is when we want to talk about these issues. But the reality is, for the African American and other minorities and non-minorities who are stopped and have excessive force actions against them, they have to talk about this all the time, before the football game, on the way home from the football game. And so although it may be convenient for some Americans to say, oh, well, let's just not talk about it now, Nike has done and used this 30th anniversary exactly the way they should, to address the culture of our country. And in our country, the First Amendment says that you can stand for or kneel for whatever you want. And let's not forget, it was a veteran who recommended that he kneel out of respect during the anthem so that he can continue to bring attention to this issue. I am so glad that
one
Nike has brought
veteran
attention
doesn't
to this
speak
issue.
for all veterans. And if we're going to talk about the culture of our country, why don't we talk about the culture that actually made our country so great, American values, and teaching a message as a role model that you can achieve the American dream through hard work, persistent talent, and merit.
Ladies,
and that's what you can achieve, not by being a victim, not by casting or blaming your problems on other things or racism.
I respect both
and
of
Colin
you,
Kaepernick,
but we
I
need
would
to
have
continue
so
this
much more respect
conversation
for him
later.
if he actually used his public platform and fame in a way that taught those American values, instead of shifting the blame on racism or talking about problems that we all really can't get behind as America. They're not measurable.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.